All right, guys, here we are, and welcome to this week's live stream with me, Zoe, the video confidence coach. So you may have seen me popped out a couple of places more than usual. I'm trying out a few things. I'm trying out a few new different places just to see how I go about trying out these new places and such with my lives, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I answer all your questions as we go. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them and comment away, and I'll do my best to make sure that I follow up and answer your questions as we go, because this week we are discussing customer journeys and how video plays a role in that, but also how video journeys in general help you guys. Because today we had a couple of things going on. We had the Geelong Small Business Network roundtable, which is a manifestation of the stuff that I was working with both Matthew and Marcus and the wider GSBN, Geelong Small Business Network leadership team, to create these monthly get-togethers and focusing a little bit more on business as opposed to catch-ups and coffees. And I'm really thankful that they managed to pull through without my involvement because of how I got sick. And even though I attended today, I don't think I'd be able to take a leadership role just yet due to my illness. But once that's relatively cleared up, or I can no longer hurt myself, I'll be able to keep going with that. But I'm really thankful for the guys. There's some posts on the Geelong Small Business Network Facebook group about the event, and it was really helpful. Everyone learned a lot. I got a couple of pages of notes as well, so I really hope people enjoyed I think it was, like an hour. We were at the NAB Centre, and I got to catch up with a lot of people that I hadn't been able to catch up since my illness, so it was really nice to see everyone there. But I want to welcome everyone to the stream. If you have any questions about video, feel free to let me know. I'll probably remind us in about 10 minutes about what the topic is about and getting on to any questions. And all I need to do here is make sure I go through my list, which is what I'm referring to at the moment, making sure that I ask you guys a question to boost engagement and boost involvement. But I also want to ask you guys about customer journeys. Do you have a customer journey in your business already, or is it just kind of like a airy floaty thing that you know of the customer journey? And I will go into a little bit of details as to what a customer journey is, why it's impactful for your business, and why it's useful to have one in your business. Because a lot of business owners, possibly including myself, I haven't actually touched on my customer journey, like a written piece of paper, in a very long period of time. It's the same thing as a business plan, unless with most like extensive business plans, it's usually to showcase, hey, this is going to make money, banks, loan, what have you, give me money. But for most people, business plans are usually quite daunting, and a lot of times I hadn't created one for my business because I just saw all the words, all the paper, and it just seems so much to do when I should be working on my business as opposed to filling out some forms. And I've since learned that it's actually quite useful to refer back to and see what your goals are and what you're trying to do and what you've been aiming to do in the meantime. And that's the same thing with a customer journey or a marketing strategy or what have you. It adapts and a good one should be able to adapt with you. And that's the same thing with a customer journey. It should be able to adapt to your needs and your wants with the business, but also with your customers and changing perceptions in your industry as well as your customer. So I will go into a little bit of that, but I want you guys, if you are interested in video for your business or even podcasting and business services, feel free to business services. That was a bit broad. So if you're interested in doing video podcasting or some marketing strategies for your business, feel free to share, comment, like, and subscribe. G'day, Joel and Matic Creative. Yes, you guys some of you may have seen the posts I've been posting about with my beautiful little new little animation that Joel from Matic Creative has put together for me. You can see it on screen now if you're on the Facebook Live and surrounding live streams. On Instagram Live, not so much. But you can see that it's nice, it flickers on. I am talking to Joel, or at some point getting that sorted, about having a more live stream tailored one, where instead of it being my full face, having like me in the corner and having some comments on the side. Again, it's all in the works and see how we go along, and that's okay. But what I want you guys to do is to invite other people who are interested in video and podcasting and that type of marketing stuff to check out the live stream and get their questions answered by an expert or a professional. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm gonna. I'm an expert for that reason. And make sure you share, tag, like, everything as we go along. But let's see what we're going to talk about today. Oh, that's right, customer journeys. And then about halfway through, I'll go through some of the notes and stuff that we've been looking at and talking through about, and updates about Video Confidence Coach in general. Okay, let's get going. So, customer journeys. And for those who are wondering, I am looking down at my quick script, which has all my little notes and details to myself. If you're interested, we're currently working on the new downloads at the moment for the quick script, so that might change in the future, but the links are available at the moment. If you check out any of our previous posts on social media, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. But looking at a customer journey is essentially a customer journey is essentially a step-by-step breakdown of what your customer is going through to eventually reach you, buy your products and services, is essentially what it is. But in a little bit more description, a customer journey is your business, being the guide to your customer in their own hero's journey. Okay, now I've leveled a whole lot of stuff on you. Let's break that down for a second. So, a hero's journey is very much like the typical journey of modern fairy tales or even historical fairy tales, where there's this one person trying to achieve a goal, but they have a problem in the way. Essentially what it is. And in real life, that's almost the mentality. G'day, Haley. Oh, g'day, Mox and Ways in Podcast. How are you guys going? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'll see you guys soon. So in regards to that customer journey, or that hero's journey, I should say, the person who is the hero is your customer. And the solution that they're trying to get is the solution to their problem. The problem is this big, hairy, audacious goal, big, hairy thing in the middle that is stopping them from achieving that goal. And the reason this relates to your customers or relates to business in a pretty simplified way is because that's essentially what your customers are doing as well. They want to achieve the goal, but they have a big problem in their way. Or they want to solve the problem, but the problem is very big or something that they can't tackle on their own. Now, a lot of people would put themselves, or a lot of business owners would put themselves as the hero in that scenario of, step back, wench, or step back, child. I'm going to be your hero and fix this problem and da-da-da. That's not what customers want. That's not what customers want at all. And this is all throughout industries, across, ages, across customers, across industries and landscapes. The people that these customers want to emulate is the hero of the story. They are the, figurehead in their own stories, and they want to achieve their goal, but they want you to guide them along the way. You are the wise old wizard, or the wise old man with too few teeth, or I'm making an analogy here, but the idea is that your business is there to guide them to make the correct decision or get them to achieve the solution, what have you. I may have made this point before in other live streams and in other videos, but the reason that your customers are reaching out to you is, yes, because you've marketed and you've made yourself known and they trust you, but also because they don't want to make a mistake. Humans don't want to make a mistake because back in ye olden times, and when I say ye olden times, I mean anything previous to like 18, pretty much anything previous to 1980, and even then, when you make a mistake, you die. You get killed, bleh, you're dead. Now, of course, a lot of things nowadays aren't going to have that same effect. Of course, there are huge exemptions to that. But if you make a mistake in business or something in that lines, or making a decision, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're not going to die. But that fear is still inherently within us, within our bonds as humans and within our souls. And we don't want to make a mistake for that factor of, having to deal with the repercussions and the consequences of that. But also, we just don't like getting things wrong and we don't want to die, but we also just don't like the idea of getting things wrong. So as the guide, the wizard, old man, the wise old wench, what have you, if you're able to give that story or give that context in your own marketing in mind, you'll be able to reach that goal of being able to achieve so many people through your website, so many clients coming up to you, what have you. And also through that story that you build eventually, you will be gaining trust of these audience and customers as well. And one thing that this also does within this customer journey is it also shrinks your ego. So as some of us may know, a lot of people in the business world have a very large ego. And ego is not a dirty word. I've already said that before in a couple of videos. But ego can make you feel a lot grander than you are, make you seem a lot bigger and a lot more confident. Not saying confidence is a bad thing, hence video confidence coach, but confidence that is not linked up with something that is better for someone else is a very long way of saying confidence that's not linked for the greater good. Confidence for the sake of confidence is your ego. And having an ego in business is not recommended. Like, yes, we all have our egos, and it's always nice to be treated well for what you've done, or be recommended for, awards and achievements if you've done a good job. But having that ego in check is always a good thing to do in business. And that's the same thing that these customer journeys, especially when you use them in business, are going to help you get along that way and make it clear to yourself that, hey, I am the guide, the wise person, wise wizard to help this person achieve their goal, or help these customers achieve their goal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check in 10 minutes and just remind people who have who have just joined the live stream of who we are and what we're talking about. So g'day, Zoe the Video Confidence Coach here. Today we're talking about customer journeys and how it impacts you and your business and why you should even care. And so far I've just gone through a bit of the intro as to what a customer journey is. Customer journey is the journey that people, or the steps that your customer takes to get from not knowing you to buying from you, and possibly a couple of steps afterwards that dictate, if they buy more from you in the future, or if they drop off and then come back, what have you. You have to let them know. And also I'll be answering any questions or comments that you have about video, so feel free to comment those as you go along about customer journeys, or you can just comment about videos in general, and I'm sure I'll work it into the customer journey somehow. So we'll keep going for a little bit, and then I'll take a break and a pause, and we'll discuss about news and updates at Video Confidence Coach. Oh yes, and of course feel free to share, comment, subscribe, what have you, if you have any questions about video, and I'll make sure to do my best to keep an eye on all my notifications and make sure that I answer your question. So moving on to my first point. What have I got here? I say, you're here to solve a problem and to fix it. Your aim is to serve others. So a lot of, like I've mentioned before in regards to ego can be helpful of getting you across that line, or giving you the confidence to get in front of the camera, get in front of that audience, record that podcast, what have you. Ego can help you boost you up or get to that level. But for when people or business owners or groups of people or groups of business owners ride that wave of their ego, or protecting their ego to the point of all others, then you're not focusing on what matters. What matters is that you are serving your customers. You are serving the humans. You are serving the people that care, that you care about and that you aim to help. And especially when you're creating these customer journeys, you're here to solve a problem. You're here to help them fix it. Or for some people, fix it for them, essentially. But you need to keep that in mind if you ever feel like that ego is getting a bit too big or getting a bit too grandiose, that you have to remind yourself, look, focus on who I'm serving, focus on my customer. And that's the same thing that I usually use as the initial, tipping point when working with new people at workshops, or people who are a bit too, I don't want to say afraid is the right word, but a bit too concerned about getting in front of the camera or starting a podcast because they're afraid of what, people will think of them. They're afraid of the backlash. They're all the addressed fears that I've addressed in previous videos, that they're afraid of what will happen if they do it. But I always remind them that, hey, what happens if you do? And also reminding them that you are here to serve someone. You are here to serve your customers. Yes, there is monetary involved. That's because you're giving in effort, time, skills, experience. Of course, there's going to be some sort of monetary value attached to that for them to exchange, because we're not all charities. We're here as business because we love our passion, but we're there to serve others. If we wanted to do this for ourselves, then we would. But that doesn't inherently mean that's going to, help you live. Pay for things, bills, kids, all that stuff. Yeah. So let's make that point rather clear. But that's what I just want to remind ourselves before we get into talking more about the customer journey. And then what I'm going to go through now is the basic breakdown of a customer journey and how it goes through and how we break that down. So the customer journey can go through a few different stages, but essentially it's broken down to 3 acts, very much like the 3-act structure of a play, a movie, a book sometimes, or what have you. Humans like to break things down into 3 parts, because then it just chunks it and makes it easier as we go along. So in regards to a basic customer journey, now, of course, larger companies that have a lot of time and resources behind them probably have more complex customer journey. And I don't want to say probably, they definitely have more complex customer journeys. They have different customer journeys for all their different avatars and all their different people. And it can get a bit overwhelming rather quickly. But for you and your business, I probably want you to focus on the basic journey first and then elaborate from there as you go along. Then apply it to other ideal customers that you have. Then apply it to other things as you work along. So the basic customer journey is 3 parts: the problem, educating, and then a solution. Seems quite simple when I break it down like that. But of course, there is going to be a lot of detail in between those 3 points. But so customer journey. As a customer, let's go with my favorite topic of discussion, chocolate. I have now got my taste buds relatively back. They're not fully at full pelt, but I can taste sweeter things for a very long period of time. Sweeter things just, there wasn't really much taste or feeling to them. They just kind of meh. But now they've gotten somewhat better, and they've gotten to a point where I can actually start eating sweeter things again and not feel too bad about it. But distraction. Let's focus on chocolate. So my problem is I don't have chocolate. I would like a chocolate. I would like a nice, refined, interesting flavored, complex chocolate. That's my problem. Now, as a chocolatier, for example, let's just play a literal play that you are the chocolatier. Then what can you do about this? You can do a few ways to start your customer journey. You can see that my problem is I don't have chocolate and I want chocolate. But I don't know about you. I don't know about your business. I don't know what you can offer me. I don't know the solution you can provide to me. Yeah, why would I really want to buy chocolate from you when I can just go down to Coles and get a Cadbury, because I know I'm going to get it at the same price and same time and good quality every time. Then you jump to the second phase, which is educate. So you educate your customer, or potential customer in my case, multiple different ways. So you can do, your ideal customer and figure out, pinpointing online, okay, are we discussing an online approach. Online approach could be a multi-stream of a few things, but it could be, a couple of campaigns on Instagram and Facebook. Again, chocolate is a very good visual medium. Melted chocolate and chocolate buttons and all that stuff is a very good visual medium. You can put on campaigns like that. You can run prize draws on social media. You can run those prize draws to your website, so then you get people's email addresses to then follow up with them and keep them on your newsletter. You can do individual, or you can do broad internet advertising in general. It can appear on Facebook, can also appear on ads in other websites, all these different places. So when it comes to online educating, you have a multiple of different options. One thing that I will probably focus on is video. Again, that's my field of speciality. But with video education, using the best platform out there, YouTube, is probably your best bet when it comes to educating your public about chocolate. And even putting in keywords or phrases. You may remember that from the last live stream where I mentioned about keywords and key phrases, where people who are Googling about, chocolate in Geelong, for example, for people that don't know, we're located in Geelong and we have a lot of local connections. So that's something that I would do. And if you play your SEO cards right, and you work hard on focusing on that word or that key phrase of how people actually look for your product, then you would come up first or second within the Google streams. And especially if you're creating video content, you'll appear right above those people as the YouTube recommended videos, because YouTube is owned by Google, and Google wants to do its best to be like, hey, YouTube is an option for you. Why don't you go to YouTube and spend more time there, and we can give you advertising as we go. But I'm distracting myself on that front. But the reason that you'd want to educate people, it's not a quick fix. Of course, you could spend... I have a pretty decent example. Do I want to use it? It's a bit political. Okay, I'll use that example. So, say for example, recently, I think within the past year, during our recent elections, we had a United Australia? Palmer's United? The United Party in Australia. And this group was run by Palmer, who is Australia's version of Donald Trump, is the best way to put it, but less fangy. And what he did and what he and his team did as part of the Palmer United Party were like, they dropped, I think, something ridiculous like $22 million worth of advertising over I want to say like 6 to 8 month period before the election was even called, mind you, to promote, the United Palmer Party, what they were going to do, all the representatives. They didn't even mention the representatives. They just mentioned that, hey, blah, 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 here we are, check out our yellow. And the amount of money that they spent just to get out there. Yes, they had a lot of recall, and in their customer journey, they probably did a lot of educating, but the product itself, no one listened to it because everyone knows how shady this guy is. But also they discovered after a while that the individual people who are running in these elections as part of the Palmer United Party didn't have much experience, or very little experience, to the point where of, Palmer, you know about him, but you don't know about any of the people that you're supposed to be electing on behalf of him. So that was a bit of a blowout, considering they spent so much money. Let's not dwell on that. But in regards to educating, they managed to get a lot of traction rather quickly because they were in front of like every YouTube video. They had billboards, they were had flyers, they had radio adverts, I believe they had TV. I haven't watched TV in a fair few years, but they had TV adverts, and they had all this saturation within the market, like so much saturation that no one could not see them. But because they weren't educating their customers, they weren't being helpful in any real way, and they weren't addressing a problem. See, that first bit of the customer journey, what are people doing? Like, yes, the government is Labour Liberal and, independents and Greens and a few in the middle, but you're not really solving a problem for me. You're not making it clear as to why I should vote for you, which is the whole reason that you do this type of advertising. You can see my little gripe with them. It's just the amount of money that they spent for no real action and no understanding. And then 3 months before the election, while everyone was actually paying attention to the idea of election, or the idea of like, okay, I'm going to vote soon, better check out who's available. Palmer Biden, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I ran out of funds, stopped working, I don't know, like 3 months before it really needed to occur. Yeah. But the reason that I gave that example is because I just wanted to make it quite clear that making sure that when you're doing these journeys, or when you're doing a customer journey and breaking it down, making sure that it's quite clear the problem, the educating, very important, and the solution. But making sure that you address all three of these in your marketing, in your building of a website, in your taking direction as a business, deciding, okay, what are we going to do next to benefit us and the business? Okay, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on, local Geelong markets, because the problem is people don't know that there's a local Geelong chocolatier with great deals on fine chocolates. People, that's your problem, say for example, but the customer's problem is they don't know where to get this stuff, so they just get the bulk stuff and bulk. I don't want to say bulk, but the regular stuff from Coles, because they don't know any better. But if you can show them that you're out there, that's educating them and providing a solution along the way. But so we've done the online education, and of course there's real world education and advertising in the sense of papers. Not entirely sure if that's still relevant anymore, but it could be to your demographic. If your demographic is over 60s, for example, you could be talking about TV, radio, and other flyers, and other forms of advertising that aren't inherently based online, but a lot of them do link up to being online, which of course that does make sense because it is slightly cheaper, but quid pro quo. But the one thing that you definitely want to do when educating is just make sure that you do it on a regular basis, that you're consistent, and then you actually provide value when you educate people. Of course, you can provide call to actions and advertise along the way and make sure it's nice and clear that you are a business, but you're there to educate people on how to purchase the right type of chocolate for them, or you're there to actually educate them on finding a solution. The next step out of those three, the solution, is being able to provide the fine chocolates on delivery, or being able to provide them in a bouquet so people can provide it during Valentine's or Mother's Day or Father's Day or what have you, whatever your solution for their particular problem is. But to be able to clearly and eloquently educate those audience that is your solution, because that's the problem that they face. And for a lot of customers out there, they don't even know that's their real problem. Same thing when it comes to, say, plumbing is always a good example, because it's something that we've all had to deal with or are going to deal with at some point in our lives. Unless you are a plumber, there's a good chance you don't know what things have gone wrong. You just know that the sink's busted, toilet's busted, hot tub's busted, I don't know. I've already mentioned sink. Other pipe related things. I've forgotten other examples. But as you know, as the customer, you know just something's wrong. You don't entirely know what the problem is, you just know that there's something wrong. That's a problem in itself, but you don't really have any details. And as the plumber, they come in and they fix it for you, they do the work for you, and the good ones help educate you on what happened so the problem doesn't happen again, or just they educate you after or before they've done the job to make it clear to you that, hey, this is what happened, don't do this, or do this, on how not to do it again. Those are the good ones. The ones that don't, not entirely sure how long they'll actually be hired for, but the people that do, they always educate. And then the solution is your problem's fixed, but you're also educated on how not to break it again. Or if you do, you're also conditioned in a way that if you know how not to do, you're also conditioned that, hey, this guy was, of course you paid him money, but he also fixed your major problem for you, but he also taught you how it works and taught you how to not damage it any further or damage it at all. And that's something that you will inherently remember as a customer, that, hey, I'm going to go back to these guys, or, hey, these plumbers were really good, I'm going to tell my friends and family about it, because everyone always needs a good, plumber, dentist, hairdresser, service, those type of services. But also, it also works for people who you may not see as a quote unquote, I don't want to say mainstream, service, but in regards to business coaches or people in the graphic design field. Graphic design, when I say normal, I mean usual people that are employed 9 to 5 usually might not need a graphic designer, but people in the business world definitely need graphic designs. So always think about that way. So what I'm going to do is take a break before I get onto the third subject and talk a little bit more about how to break down these customer journeys. And when I say the difference between a hero's journey and a customer journey, the hero's journey is quite a complex piece and refers more to literacy and creating a story with your business. Again, not a bad thing, but some people, as I've heard of today, don't quite understand how that works, which I'm intrigued to see why. But the hero's journey usually means, as I said, that they need to achieve a solution. There's a problem, blah blah blah, and then they get someone or guides them help to fix it. And that's essentially a compressed version of the hero's journey. And there are a lot more complex options out there that you can see and Google on YouTube. But the basic journey, the basic customer's journey on our perspective, is being able to figure out how does our business fit in the middle in that education spot of being able to educate people on how to fix their problem, or educate them to find out what the actual problem is and how effective it is for you to come fix it. Or if it's really difficult and not worth the money, get your competitors to do it. Works too. So before I move on to the third and final piece, I want to let you guys know what's happening at Video Confidence Coach. So yes, today we were at the Geelong Small Business Network Roundtable, and it was really nice to see everyone. There was a really nice group of people, and we bounced a lot off each other and got a lot of good notes and learned a lot from each other. So this is going to be every second Tuesday, 8:30 to 10, maybe around there, usually starting at 9, but 8:30 is the time that you have to network. On the second Tuesday of every month at the NAB Village in Geelong. And yeah, it was just really nice to see everyone. I haven't been able to attend events, or I was at the organising committee originally before I got sick, and I'm glad that they've been able to carry on the torch and be able to keep those type of things rolling, which was really nice to see. And I'm so glad to Matthew, to Marcus, to Liz, to everyone on the team who's helped run those events. And hopefully we'll get some more people rolling through and hopefully help educate people along the way. I know that I won't be able to become or get back into the leadership team probably for, I'd say, the rest of this year, because even though I'm live streaming with you guys and creating content and working with customers, I'm still very much in recovery phase, and I will be for the next few years. But I've definitely learned from the last time that I had treatment to not push it as hard as my mind thinks I can push it, because my mind and my body are two different things. My mind thinks I can do it, and your body goes, nope. Nope, nope, nope. So you learn that, you definitely learn that over time, but it's kind of surprising that you're like, oh right, I'm not indestructible, but also my body is breaking down. Yay. Let's talk about something more positive. All in all, in regards to the Video Confidence Coach, it's been about a week and a bit since our last workshop for the Geelong Small Business Festival. It was a really successful festival on all. We'll be heading to the Geelong Council Chambers to discuss how the event, how the festival went as a whole. Some point this month, I will check my emails at some point to find out when that is. But I want to thank everyone who's attended a workshop, who is watching today. And if you didn't get a chance to attend one of our workshops and you're really interested to, we'll be setting up new workshops probably for October and November of this year. December and January will probably take a little bit of the foot of the accelerator, because everyone will be either A, rushing to get stuff completed before they head off to holiday, or B, automatically shutting off, clicking down, clicking off by that point of the year anyway. And personally, I use that time to get a whole bunch of like marketing and work and those type of strategy stuff done in that time, because A, it's not that no one will bother me, but it will be more of a case of and be like, okay, no one's pressing me to get stuff done because they're expecting you to get it done in January anyway. So, still good. G'day, Catherine. How are you? So that's what's happening around at the moment for Video Confidence Coach. We'll be looking to get a few more workshops later on. I'm just currently talking with the guys at Creative Geelong about running a few workshops here, running a few, I want to call it Build a Podcast, where you get the details on how to start your podcast and then record an episode in the studio with all the gear, with everything ready to go, and you have a and you have a full product by the end of it. Thank you for the love, Catherine. And I'm looking to get that sorted. I just need to break it down into some ways of doing it, and hopefully that'll be sorted. Hopefully by the end of the year. 2020 will definitely be our year in regards to stuff that will be on the way. Not because I'm procrastinating or putting stuff off to 2020 in general. It's just making sure that I've got a good foundation to start off before I start shooting up to be able to cater to you guys a lot more. But in the meantime, I'll be conducting these live streams on a regular basis. I'll be answering your questions as we go. And I'll be creating content, hopefully between coaching and all the other things that I have going on at the moment, hopefully. But we'll definitely make that work, and we'll definitely make it nice and clear, hopefully, once I figure that out. Thank you, Catherine. Good to hear. It all sounds great, doesn't it? So, ready to move on to stage 3 of the customer journey? Let's do it. All right. Okay. So, the third part, we've already touched on. For those who've just joined us, we've already touched on in regards to the customer journey, about what the customer journey is. Again, you've got your customer, there is a problem, they see the solution in the distance, and then you as the guide or the business helps to help them defeat that problem to get to the solution. Simple, fairly straightforward stuff. And because you're the business, you are there to guide them, not to be the hero yourself, but to guide your hero, your customer, to their end goal purpose. That can be something as simple as, here is the product, I sell it, buy it off me, or something as complex of, I want to achieve this certain goal in my life. Okay, we're going to have to break it down, but as a business, you are providing that solution to them. And we went through a basic customer journey of the problem, educating, and the solution. And you can look back at our live stream to go a bit more about that, where I had a bit of a rant about the Palmer United Party. Yay, Australian politics. But I got a little bit cheesed off at their inability to understand how marketing works, yet spent so much money on marketing and not pay their workers. But that's a story for another day. But I want to focus on now is the how-to guide on how to create your own customer journey. So hopefully through this live stream so far and the stuff that I've described through the customer journey, you have an idea of, okay, this is where I can fit in what Zoe's discussed and into my own business and how that would work for me. And hopefully that would make sense. But I want you to think about one thing before you actually start putting that pen to paper, typing on the laptop, what have you. I want you to focus a bit more about this, but from your customer's perspective. So be in their mind. Think about what content you create in the education stage that could be helpful to them, that could help, the content that could be helpful for them, what they want to know, what the questions did they ask, what influencers or other people in your community can you collaborate with for them to eventually see you. That's stage 1 stuff. Sorry, that's stage 2 stuff in regards to the content, the education stuff. But in regards to the stage 1 stuff, which is the problem, like I said, that first stage of the journey is being that they have a problem. Think about your customer in your own mind and think about how they would feel in that situation. They have a problem. They know they need to get it fixed. What would they be feeling? Okay, now you've thought about that. Okay, where would they be when this problem occurs? Is it an immediate, I have a problem, now I need to get it fixed? Or is it something a little bit like insurance or getting the car to the mechanic or something like that where it functions for now? I probably should, look into my insurance, or I probably should take the car to the mechanic, but it's not really a problem or what have you. Think of that in regards to, and be realistic as well with your services or your products or what have you. Be realistic in regards to what type of methodology that your customers would be thinking. And these would be probably your potential customers, people that don't inherently know who you are. And the reason that I want you to think about that in particular, as opposed to people that already know who you are, is because most people that will, I think there was some sort of statistic out there, but the majority of people that need your services are people that don't know who you are right now. Even, companies as big as Coca-Cola, Google, and all those businesses, if people didn't know they existed, people wouldn't use them. The only reason we know that they exist and to use them is because of their permeancy, that's word, into our society and our way of life. That's the only reason that we can list these companies off the top of our head, because we can think about how we use them in our daily life. And that's the same thing with you and your business. People may not automatically know that they need a life coach to help them figure themselves out and figure out which way what they want to do with their life, but they know they have a problem. They know they need to get it fixed. And being in their mind, what would they do to try and seek out this solution? So that would be in that problem stage of you and your business, of being in your customer's mind and sitting back and thinking about, okay, so customer doesn't know who I am, doesn't know me from a bar of soap. Okay, they have this problem. It's immediate. They need something to help them fix it within the next, day or two. Again, calibrate it to your products and your services. And they know that they need to get this problem fixed. What would be their immediate next step? So breaking it down, like I mentioned at the start, and breaking it down into steps, what would be their immediate next step? Would they call up their mother and ask them to get them to help out? Would they immediately go straight to Google and Google, type of business or type of industry, and then followed by where they live? What is the immediate next step that they would do to fix their problem? So there's a couple of options when it comes to that, and probably some that I won't even think of when it comes to different types of industries and business. But the usual ones that are for my particular industry and for a lot of other people is there's a route of two. So the one is referrals, in the sense of people go to their business associates, they go to LinkedIn, they go to other places where they've met people who have had coaching or have had business coaching before, and they go to these people and message them. They don't put it out there on the web just yet. They put it out there and say, hey, I know you've had coaching done in the past. Can you give me any tips on how to find them? Or better yet, give me some recommendations. That's asking word of mouth. And that's the same thing both in the online community as well as face-to-face. Like, if something, what's a good example? If you've ever had, I don't know, I keep thinking about pizza. I might be a bit hungry. But a good example of this is there was a client that I had of mine who was Christian, and who would had a lot of cousins, a lot of aunties and uncles, and a very large family. And on a somewhat, I don't want to say weekly basis, but somewhat at least 2 to 3 times a year, a cousin, a nephew, or a relative would be getting baptized in some fashion. I think it's the baby dunking of the head. I'm not entirely religious myself, so I can't really comment on that. The baby, water, chants, that type of thing. Now, of course, they wouldn't ask for recommendations on a priest or a church, because that's already built into the family dynamic and probably a decision they already know. But in regards to a outfit, in regards to the best place to go for lunch afterwards, or other things like that, they're going to ask their family members, because yes, it's a family event, but they're going to ask recommendations from them, from family and from friends about, hey, where should I, take our little, newly baptized daughter and all the family to have dinner afterwards. That's a reasonable question. And you're going to ask people that you trust, because you're going to trust them that they've made the right decision, and they'll give you some recommendations. Same thing when it comes to people outreaching online or Googling. You trust the recommendations of other people who've done reviews, but you usually have a tendency of finding a few different businesses on the first page of Google for whatever you've searched for, and you open 2, 3, up to 5 pages, and you go to the website and you see, does this look like something I would look into? You would probably go straight to their about page. You would go, for some people, they'd go straight to the prices page, what have you. Being able to give an idea of, just to get the information that you want straight away, you jump to a website, you do a little bit of a look around, and then you narrow it down to 2 to 3, and then you maybe send them out a email, or you call them, or whichever way that is. But you as a business owner need to think about, okay, what are those specific steps? Of course, not everyone's going to stick to those specific breakdown steps. Not all your customers are going to be the same, and neither should they be. But being able to give an idea for yourself of how these people would find you, and how these people are going to contact you, break it down, how many touch points. And I mentioned it in a couple of podcasts and a couple of live streams where I've talked about touch points. So touch points are the times where a advertisement, social post, something that people have seen about your business, and it registers to them that, okay, I've seen this thing, it's connected to this business, okay, I'll move on with the rest of my life. And that's called a touch point. Now, back in the days when you had television advertising and radio and, newspaper advertising, you would be an average of about 7 to 8 touch points for people to, and on average, so some people are less and some people are more, to get to the point where they're like, okay, I might check out this business and see what they offer me. Or they remember you, they're in the front, that business is in the front of their mind because they've seen all your advertising. Nowadays, because we are bombarded with, I think it's like 3,000 ads per day, something ridiculous like that, humans have become a lot more savvy, but also a lot more closed off, because we, as humans, we can ignore a lot of things over a period of time. That's why you find hoarders or people out there that have managed to block off their vision. And I don't mean literally, I mean being able to ignore the mess that's around them, because that's not what they're focusing on. And that's the same thing with your customer. The touch point used to be 7 to 8. Now it's 14 to 18 at minimum. That you have to be these touch points of people seeing your work, getting them to take action of your work and what they've seen. Liking a post, liking a video, seeing you out and about in a market, what have you. That needs to happen an average of 14 to 18 times before they're going to take any sort of action or have you in the front of their mind when they need that problem solved. And having this customer journey laid out in even a basic fashion, or an idea of, okay, if people are needing to find my business and they're going straight to Google, then we need to focus on SEO. We need to focus on boosting our website, making sure that we've got the right key phrases, keywords, making sure that we're providing, the right content, and making sure that we're, reaching the type of people that we want. That gives you an idea in regards to marketing on where to focus your marketing, but also gives you an idea of where to put your marketing budget. And then once people have got past that stage of, okay, finding out, you've already been in their mind, they've already done that stage of, okay, let's say, for example, we've done the, which route? We've done the word of mouth route. People are still going to do their own research no matter what. If you take a recommendation from a family friend or, a family member or a friend of yours, you're still going to quickly Google the website. You're going to quickly check out their Facebook page. You're going to, check out their Instagram, Twitter, what have you. You're still going to check them out, because even though you trust, this person, this family member, friend's recommendation, you still want to check out and see If it's something that you like the look of, do they look trustworthy? Can I see a face? Have they posted on social media in a while? That's definitely a biggie I found a lot with people my age and lower. Just to let you know, I'm 24. When it comes to making a decision on making a decision on businesses, when we want to check it out and, I recommend such and such. And then I check out their social media and they haven't posted since 2016. It gives me, the potential customer, an impression of, oh, maybe they're not open, or maybe they closed and, maybe they're not running, which they could be perfectly, on Google, they're fine, they're doing bustling business, but on social media, that's why it's one of those recommendations that you don't have to post every day, but posting semi-regularly just to keep your presence and to be found and be seen, that's more important. But as I've recommended to a lot of people, and you may notice in our last live stream where I talked about focusing on your website and your website content and then social media following after. Okay, take a breath. But now that you've been in the mind of your customer, and if you are having trouble, which a lot of small businesses do, even myself, having trouble pulling yourself into that mindset or pulling yourself out of your own business mindset, because as business owners, especially small ones, you've got a lot of hats to juggle. You've got a lot of things to think about at any one time, and it's kind of hard to put yourself in a stranger's shoes without utilizing the knowledge. Oh yes, and one thing that Catherine has mentioned on Instagram Live is making sure that you have your bio, your Instagram bio up to date, because there's plenty of people out there where, I check out their Instagram and I click on, I check out the, little bio link and they say, something about, the year 2016. I don't really care about that. Or that you click on the link and the link is broken because for whatever reason, because you haven't checked up on it in a while. Always make sure that you keep your stuff up to date, and if not, pay someone to do it. And so now that and now back to that point in regards to if you're having trouble pulling your head out of using your own prior knowledge about the industry, ask a family member, ask a friend, ask someone who fits your potential customer demographic, or even, finding people online and just asking questions. Of course, you need to be doing it in a format that makes sense, and don't be creepy about it. But even, asking family and friends for people that you think, hey, do you know anyone that fits this ABCDFG demographic of people and things and stuff? And they can think, oh yeah, my sister's like that, or oh yeah, my father definitely fits that. Then you can ask nicely, hey, do you mind if ask them a couple of questions for me if you're too afraid to do it yourself? Or you say, hey, do you think I could meet them and ask a few questions? Most people are open to it. Of course, some people are busy, but if you offer them, stuff that you can offer, like, a meal or a coffee or even a family dinner. I've done that a few times with a couple of my clients where when I was doing, conducting research and wanted to do some of my own, I would invite friends out. So I would invite family members of friends who are my target demographic at the time for my other business, and I would invite them out to dinner. No one's going to turn down a dinner, especially when then they can eat, when they can order anything they want and you're going to pay for it. But give them that opportunity to ask questions, a lot of questions, even have a list and even record it if they allow you to. But being able to get out of your own mind and ask questions about, so how would you go about finding if this was your problem, how would you find this? And doing that and being able to reach those people in real life is going to be a lot more helpful than you trying to do the the mental gymnastics of like, okay, if I didn't know about myself or I didn't know about my industry, what would I do? Yeah. So now that you've thought a little bit about how people are finding you and finding your business when it comes to the customer journey, and you've broken it down into a couple of steps that makes a bit more sense, I highly recommend that you do some research. So research about, okay, what type of content is out there currently in the industry, and can I do better? What type of helpful videos, blog posts, podcasts are out there? Thanks, Catherine. Hope you enjoy your Tuesday night. What other stuff can you think of researching? And of course, your customer journey may not be correct, but you're not going to find out until you write it down and do some research on it. And if you find, okay, that's not correct, maybe then I can do some changes and think about how that would work best for you and your business. And then from there, being able to come back to it every 3 months and figure out, okay, due to our analytics or due to our, all the stuff on our website and stuff, it says that we've lost, about 100 clicks per day from Facebook because, our demographic is moving from Facebook to LinkedIn, for example. Well, then you would change your customer journey and be like, okay, well, then maybe we should pull our advertising from Facebook and put it into LinkedIn. That's an example, but you would need to think about this. And of course, it's another thing that a lot of small business owners, it's another thing to think about. But even just spending a couple of minutes just thinking about it. So then when you go time to doing your own marketing, or when you go time to hiring someone else, or when you go to time of actually putting in the effort to do some marketing, you have an idea of where you're going, and you're not just wildly going in the dark and just hoping for the best. And it's a good thing. So, what have we learnt this live stream? Huh? Ugh. Apologies, I'm getting old. And I'm also in pain and the drugs are worn off. But we are going to be civil. So we're finishing up on today's live stream. I've got about 5 more minutes. And my call to action for you guys today is, if this customer journey stuff still feels a bit overwhelming for you, or if you just feel like it's just gone, I don't understand any of this, I want you to contact me for a coaching session. Yes, it is a monetary fund because we are a business, but the reason that I want to offer that to you guys, because you can check that out on any of our social medias, the links are there. But the reason I recommend that, even having a one-on-one session like I had today with a client, having a one-on-one hour session where we can go through a customer journey and spitball and do some cursory research, but also giving you an idea from an outsider's perspective on your business and how you actually go about marketing. Because yes, I may not be as old as some marketers out there, but I have my expertise. I do my research. I do regular research. And if I find that something is wrong, or if I find that it turns out I've been teaching something wrong, then I correct it. I correct my ways and make sure I teach people the right thing. So I want to make sure that you guys reach out and get a one-on-one session if you feel like this stuff would be helpful to you and you want to talk to someone who knows stuff about it. So I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I'm going to finish up now. Feel free to check out the replay if you've missed anything that we've talked about today. I will be putting this stuff on podcasts eventually. I just haven't had time yet, because that's how business life works. You don't really have the time for it because you're preoccupied working on your business, and I've got a little bit of homework to do tonight, so I probably won't be able to do that either. But I'm going to leave you guys, and hopefully if you have any questions, feel free to message me. But I'm going to see you guys later, and cheers. I probably should do a little bit more, but here we are.